Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul are the best shows I've ever seen. Everybody should watch them. They're written, shot, acted almost perfectly. That's why they are the best. Except maybe The Wire. Breaking Bad follows Walter White, a chemistry teacher who, after being diagnosed with lung cancer, starts manufacturing methamphetamine with his former student Jesse Pinkman. And then Walt slowly transforms into a ruthless drug kingpin known as Heisenberg. Better Call Saul is a prequel/spin-off that chronicles the transformation of Jimmy McGill from a struggling lawyer into the crooked attorney Saul Goodman. It delves deep into the criminal underworld of Albuquerque and features several characters from Breaking Bad, including Mike Ehrmantraut and Gus Fring. Despite both series being critically acclaimed and winning many awards, Better Call Saul has remained a bit in the shadow of its more popular older sibling, although I personally think it's a head taller in terms of script quality than Breaking Bad, which was already pretty awesome, except maybe the Fly episode. Let's start with the Rusty Nail, which appears in the very first episode of Better Call Saul, where Saul Goodman, now Gene Takovec, is mixing it for himself after a long day of working at Cinnabon in Omaha. Set after the events of Breaking Bad, the choice of the Rusty Nail is no accident. It is a strong classic cocktail, adored by sad, aging men, bitterly remembering the glory days. And this, by the way, is an excellent example of how, with minimal artistic means, the authors reveal the new personality of Saul Goodman, which contrasts strongly with his former cheerful image. In the series, the cocktail is prepared in a slightly modified form, so you can call it a Rusty Nail twist. Fill the old-fashioned glass with ice, using our hand, just like Gin did. The base is Scotch whiskey, and like in most cocktails, you should not pour some complex ale Scotch here, because they usually have too strong iodine flavor, which doesn't mix well with the other ingredients. And it is better to use something cheaper, blended and milder. 1 ounce, 30 ml. Drambuie liqueur. It is a spiced honey whiskey-based liqueur. About 1.5 ounce, 45 ml. It is hard to tell exactly how much he pours into the glass, but there's clearly more liqueur than whiskey, although if you follow the original recipe, the ratio is the opposite. 1.5 ounce of 45 ml of scotch and 3/4 ounce or 22 ml of liqueur. And top it off with a squirt of lemon juice from plastic bottle. This is Saul's innovation. In Rusty Nail, of course, no juice is added, but apparently the authors wanted to show us that he's sour, I don't know. Don't garnish it, and by the way, he doesn't even stir the cocktail, he drinks it straight away, but of course I'll stir it. I'm not an animal, after all. Cheers. It is still strong, a bit too sweet for me. I like the original version better, but lemon juice helps to make it rounder, more balanced. I think this is a perfect cocktail for a man who gave up on himself and wants to get drunk as quickly as possible and as nicely as possible, because it's pretty sweet and pretty strong. Speaking of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, I can't fail to mention Zafiro Anejo tequila. It's a fictional brand of expensive tequila that appears several times, and it's the same liquor that Gustavo Fring uses to poison Don Eladio and his entire cartel in season 4 of Breaking Bad. Spoilers, but you've had years to watch, so it's your problems. In Better Call Saul, Zafiro Anejo first appears in the second season, when Jimmy and Kim Wexler pretend to be brother and sister and sign a fictitious contract with a businessman who is overjoyed to pay a huge restaurant bill. One shot of Zafiro Anejo is $50 there. From this point on, Zafiro Anejo appears at key moments in Jimmy's transformation into Saul Goodman. I don't have this tequila, of course, because it doesn't exist, but I do have another tequila Anejo with which I'm gonna make a cocktail named Chimayo. This is a favorite cocktail of the north of New Mexico and is perfect for autumn. Invented in the 1960s by Arturo Jaramillo to make use of the overly large apple crop, and there's also a restaurant called Rancho de Chimayo, which Jaramillo opened in the 19th century hacienda owned by his family. There are different variations of this cocktail, I'll make the one I like. The cocktail is shaken, and to the shaker I'm gonna add Tequila Anejo, which is not exactly Zafiro Anejo, but close. 1.5 ounce, 45 ml. You can use silver tequila, but it can be too agave-driven. Calvados or Applejack, 1/2 ounce, 15 ml. Cloudy apple juice, or apple cider, as Americans call it for some reason, 3/4 ounce, 22 ml. If you can, use freshly squeezed apple juice, the packed stuff can be too sweet. Creme de cassis, blackcurrant liqueur, 1/2 ounce, 15 ml. And freshly squeezed lime juice or lemon juice, or whichever you prefer, 1/3 ounce, 10 ml. Fill the shaker with ice and shake it vigorously, dedicating to Victor and Giselle Sinclair and this comment. Fine strain to the chilled cocktail glass. And garnish with a couple of apple slices. Tequila Anejo is better suited for this cocktail than the regular Blanco. It's like a part of an overall ensemble instead of being just tequila in a cocktail. Calvados helps to bring everything together, apple flavors and tequila flavors, and a little bit of sweetness from creme de cassis. A perfect cocktail. It's ideal for autumn. Heisenberg, a variation on a cocktail created in September 2013 at Mark's Bar in London to celebrate the release of the latest episode of Breaking Bad. Of course, the cocktail is blue in color, like the meth from the series, and is similar to a margarita, albeit a much more complicated one. Served in a science beaker, I hope that's the right term, which we're gonna garnish with blue curacao syrup and sugar. The cocktail is shaken, and to the shaker we're gonna add tequila. You can use Anejo, but I'm using Blanco, 1 1/3 ounce, 40 ml. Mezcal, half an ounce, 15 ml. Maraschino or Maraschino liqueur, 1/3 of an ounce, 10 ml. Freshly squeezed lime juice, 2/3 of an ounce, 20 ml. Lavender syrup, 1/4 ounce, 7 ml. Blue curacao liqueur, 1/4 ounce, 7 ml. And simple syrup, 1/4 ounce, 7 ml. If you don't have all those ingredients, just make a blue lagoon or something blue and serve it in a science beaker, but not in the volumetric flask. You don't apply heat to the volumetric flask. That's what a boiling flask is for. Fill the shaker with ice and shake it vigorously, dedicating the shake to this comment. And fine strain to our flask. Let's cook. Not a bad one. Yes, you could just make a blue lagoon or electric lemonade and the appearance would be the same, but it's an interesting twist on the margarita. But to me, it's too complicated. Just make a regular margarita and add a little bit blue curacao, or I have a video about blue cocktails. You can make almost any of them and use this flask to serve it. But this one is not bad. Want to support my channel and get absolutely nothing in return except my eternal love and virtual high fives? Join my Patreon and YouTube membership today. No perks, no exclusive content, just the warm fuzzy feeling of knowing you're helping this tipsy dream alive. As they say, nothing good in life is free, except my content, which will be that way forever. But if you want to throw money at me anyway, I won't stop you. While Zafiro Anejo shows us Jimmy's character journey, his girlfriend and then wife, Kim Wexler, has her own drink, the Moscow Mule. Kim is first seen with the Moscow Mule in Season 2, when she becomes increasingly frustrated with her role in HHM and first refuses the cocktail during a business meeting, and then, after another depressing day at HHM, returns to the restaurant and drinks it alone. And then later in the same episode, she orders it at the expense of the arrogant businessman she and Jimmy are screwing over. I've talked about it a couple of cocktails ago. The Moscow Mule is traditionally served in a mule cup with ice, and pour vodka, 2 ounces, 60 ml. Freshly squeezed lime juice, half an ounce, 15 ml, a little bit of simple syrup. It is optional but recommended. 1/3 of an ounce, 10 ml. Stir it a little and top up with ginger beer, not ginger ale. About 3 ounces, 90 ml. Stir a little more and top up with a little bit more ice. Garnish with a lime wheel and a mint sprig. This is a Moscow Mule. You can use just another glass, just a regular see-through clear glass. It wouldn't be called Moscow Mule, it would be called something like a buck, because it's not a new cocktail. It was invented just as a variation on the existing one. But nevertheless, it's balanced and good, and I understand why Kim liked it so much. Next one is my invention. It is called Cinnabon in Omaha. It is inspired by the Saul's final fate as a Cinnabon manager. I tried to replicate the taste and feel of the rich, decadently sweet, buttery cinnamon roll. The cocktail is shaken, and to the shaker we're gonna add dark rum, or you can use white rum, or you can use vodka, 1.5 ounce, 45 ml. Coconut milk, or regular milk, 1 ounce, 30 ml. Single cream, 20% fat, 1 ounce, 30 ml. Cinnamon syrup, half an ounce, 15 ml. Vanilla syrup, 1/4 ounce, 7 ml. And a little bit of amaretto, 1/4 ounce, 7 ml. Fill the shaker with ice and shake it vigorously, dedicating the shake to this comment. fine strain to the chilled cocktail glass, and grate a little bit nutmeg or cinnamon on top. Oh, this is better than the real thing, because it has alcohol in it. To be honest, I don't know if making it with rum instead of vodka adds anything to it, but it definitely doesn't make it worse. Sweet, luscious, just as the Cinnabon or other cinnamon roll that you can make yourself, because they didn't pay us. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Tell me in the comments which movies or series or books or games should I make cocktails inspired by. And don't forget that all the recipes in text form are on my website, thedrcork.com. Link is down below, as well as the links to my Patreon and YouTube membership. Drink responsibly, don't do drugs, by the way. And as always, Dosvidos.